so I don't tape or anything. But I've minimized the amount of removal from the stone. I've maximized the consistency of my process. This diamond plate is a great way to do this because it's convenient. The more convenient you make your process, the more likely it is you're going to do it. You can do this on wet and dry sandpaper. If you're going to do that, use 120 to 150 grit, pretty coarse grit paper, so that it does it quickly. This is about 200 bucks for one of these, so some people don't want to jump right into that. But if you do get it, it means you're going to flatten your stones way more frequently because it's more convenient than using the sandpaper. It's just there all the time. And that is the biggest secret to this whole thing. If you're using hand tools, this is your holy shrine to happiness right here. Never put this away. Don't use it as a horizontal surface to stack things on. This should be as close to your bench as you can get it without being in the way, and it should never get put away. If anything, you might just have a cloth that you throw over it to keep dust from getting on there and keep other people away. But as soon as the tool isn't cutting the way you expect it to, you should touch it. You should touch up the because and if you work that way, I don't sharpen dull tools. I sharpen tools that aren't sharp enough. Very different philosophy.
Where you have these? You mentioned this, and
we don't have any stock here with us.
Right.
We're taking orders for stuff. We'll ship it. It'll ship out on Monday.
Right.
But we have all
you
this,
mentioned
everything
this in
here.
one other set of jaws.
So I would get the standard honing guide and the long jaws.
The long jaws, and the difference in blades that you'd use on them would be when.
So this is
larger
for
blades?
everything from a 1/4 inch wide chisel up to about a 3 inch wide blade, as long as the blades are no more than 1/4 of an inch thick.
So that's the width, but I'm seeing length in this.
And
What
then
is
so
size
for
length?
this one, and you don't get the extra body, you're just getting the jaws. These screws come loose, and all the screws are captured, so you won't lose the screws. Might lose the jaws, but you won't lose the screws. So you just loosen those, pop the old jaws off, put the new ones on, tighten them down, and go.
And you use them for what blades?
So when you have a really short blade like this, and this one is long enough I can do it for a while, but it'll shorten.
Okay, so
to
it's
a
just to
point.
get the grip.
Yeah, it's just to be able to hold on.
So I'm better off on a plane like this to use these ones, the longer ones? No?
Use the standard for the plane.
Okay.
So I'm going to use that same 35-degree bevel angle, which means I'm holding on to a smaller portion of the blade than if I have that guy in there.
Okay.
The projection doesn't change. This one, for a while, you can sharpen with these jaws. The spoke shaves are even shorter blade. So you're only holding on to the very, very tip of the back of it.
So it's all about grip.
Yeah,
Whatever the
exactly.
blade geometry is, use your common
So
sense.
if you don't have a spoke shave or you don't have a shoulder plane, you don't need to get those long jaws right away.
I do have spoke shaves.
Then I would recommend that. But don't use 35 degrees for your spoke shave blades, use 30 for the secondary bevel. Because spoke shaves are bedded at 40 degrees rather than 45 degrees. So, and the bevel faces down in them.
What's a good resource for these different blade angles?
On our website, the top toolbar, one of the headings says education. And when
So I can look all this stuff up.
when you open that up, there'll be a one that says free instructional videos, and there's a hyperlink in there to a YouTube channel that we have.
Now you said like 25 degrees for the primary
That's your primary bevel.
and then the secondary is like 35.
35 for the
Is
second.
that a rough rule of thumb, like a 10-degree difference, or?
The greater the difference between the two angles, the primary and the secondary, the slower the secondary bevel grows, which means less grinding. Because when the secondary bevel grows long enough that you're spending more time than you want to sharpening, then you regrind the primary
the
to
other
shrink it
extreme,
down.
if you go too far, now you're risking dragging wood. Or
Exactly. So with any plane that has the bevel facing down, any plane period, you need to make sure you always have from the lowest point of the bevel facing down to the workpiece, you have to have a minimum of 10 degrees of clearance. Because as the blade moves across the stock, it's going to compress those wood fibers down. And as the blade passes by, those wood fibers spring back up. If there's less than 10 degrees clearance to the heel of the bevel, the lowest point of the bevel, so in this case it would be the secondary bevel, is low.
rocks.
It just pushes it right out of the cup.
Where do I get these?
Order right here. LZ with the glasses here. I like to be as efficient as I can with this stuff. So I keep my tools set up for what I want them to do. And the joiner is my flattening tool. So I did the heavy removal there, which got me pretty close. I would typically have a regular jack plane set with, but I have that one with the tooth blade in it right now. So I'm just going straight to my joiner to clean up the surface. But the pencil lines take away the frustration. I know where I'm getting material and where I'm not. Because I knew I was skipping, but I didn't know where. Now I'm looking at the shaving. That's not a full width shaving, so I know that I've got a little bit of a crown in the piece, so I'm going to take another cut. That one's almost full width, but not quite. So now it's flat and straight. Because it has to be, otherwise I wouldn't get the cut. So this side is good. This side is still a rougher side, so I'm going to take my marking gauge and find the finished portion here and just bring that around. Now I need to come down to there, so I'll do a couple passes with the scrub. If I put too much pressure on here, it's going to flex it. I don't want to take any here, so I'm doing that sort of stepped cut in.
One of the guys, he says, or the younger guy,
If you could, the corners are a little low. If you could just slightly camber that on the 1000 and then hit it on the 10. It's set for 35. Just do like 4 or 5 strokes on each corner, and then goes to the 10 with just a regular, with no camber. See how that little sliver peels up? That tells you you're in there. And it's just starting to come up over there, so I was tapered just slightly. So I'm going to take a shaving where I'm tipping, I'm taking the cut from the one side but not the other. And then I just work till that comes across. And you can see that bit shaved peeled up.
Because it's in Maine.
And I can go play around with it.
Excuse me, question.
Yeah.
I see you dragging the plane back on the wood.
Yes.
I do the same. But some people say dragging it back will dull the blade. What's your opinion on that?
Not enough that it's going to be a problem. But what you don't notice is I'm not dragging the blade back, the plane back flat. I'm tipping it up a little bit as I come back.
So the
And
sole
that's
is riding.
No, that's so I don't pull a shaving back underneath. It has nothing to do with whether or
see.
not I'm dragging the back of the blade. Because all I'm doing, if I'm dragging the blade across, all I'm really doing is polishing the back, the micro bevel that I've got. I'm not. It's not doing a significant amount of damage
Damage to it, yeah.
But what will happen is you'll pull a shaving back down under, and then you ride forward on that, and you don't get a cut.
You'll get jammed.
But the bigger thing that happens when you pick the planes up and put them down, you will eventually put it down hard. And when you do that, you deepen the cut a little bit.
Okay.
So keeping it in contact with the board is good, but dragging flat back means you're going to pull shavings under. So I just tip it up on its edge a little bit. I also work at a slight skew with the plane.
Small chisel jaws there.
So regardless of what tool I'm using, I'm going to I'm going to work at a slight skew with the tool. So I go forward, then I tip up.
So the sole is dragging back,
Yeah.
not the blade, not the bottom
Has
of the
nothing
sole.
to do with the blade. It's just I don't want to break contact because if I pick it up, I
That
just
blade
deepen
is
the
going
cut.
forward. Yeah.
More so with the traditional style planes than the low angle ones. But here with the low angle ones, typically when you bump the front, you deepen the cut.
Okay.
But I still want to be at a slight skew so that I'm slicing into the cut rather than just blunt attack in. And it's very subtle that I just break contact. It's not that I'm not coming up on its edge. I just tip it up a little and it comes back. And because I skew it a little bit, I'm not coming straight back.
You're not making
edge.
marks to the wood either.
I've got a little bit of an angle to it.
That's a nice trick. Thank you.
Absolutely.